What's going on, you guys? It's Nick Johnson, your favorite sports YouTube journalist here, back with another video, giving you today's update in the world of sports, as you all know it. Now, we're going to talk about like a breaking news report that happened as soon as I got to work. As soon as I got to work at my job in that building, this news came up in the NFL. I didn't even have time to make such a recording such as this because I was at work, and it's just bad timing all the way around, you know. So, I'm going to give you the news anyway. Yesterday at 3:45 p.m., as soon as I got to my job, I found out that free agent running back Le'Veon Bell has decided to sign a 1-year deal or a 3-year deal with the Kansas City Chiefs. Therefore, completing what could be arguably one of the greatest offenses we can ever see. Now, if Le'Veon can repeat the type of success that he had with Pittsburgh before he got to New York, if he can do that, then this Kansas City offense could go a long way. You already have a former league MVP and a reigning Super Bowl MVP at that in Patrick Mahomes, a dynamic plethora of weapons of Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce at the helm. The passing game is still elite. They just needed a complete running game. Since Damian Williams decided to opt out of the season due to COVID-19 concerns, and he was like their star running back of the future before he opted out. And Clyde Edwards-Belaire, he had a good promise. He balled out really well in the season opener against Houston, but then fell silent afterwards. So, with the addition of Le'Veon Bell, this Kansas City offense can go a long way to become one of the best offenses we've ever seen in a long time. So, if he can replicate the same success that he had with the Pittsburgh Steelers for like a span of 5 years, or like 4 or 5 years in the organization. So it remains to be seen, though. But I'm looking forward to see exactly what Kansas City can do on offense with his additions. Probably starting this week, if possible. You know. And of course, speaking of COVID-19, there's one more player on the New England Patriots organization that tested positive for COVID-19. So we put that guy on the list, on the COVID-19 list, but our scheduled matchup against the Denver Broncos will happen Sunday morning. It will happen this Sunday, barring any further incident. And because of this update, we had to send our players home and cancel a scheduled practice for today. So, everybody was sent home because of that. This whole thing has been going out of control, and players are just not following protocol as we speak. We already had this big issue with the Tennessee Titans that missed 2 weeks of action because of the whole situation. And because you had like over 20 people that in that organization that got tested positive for COVID-19. Now you have one organization being plagued with COVID-19, but it's like bit by bit, like one player at a time. You know what I'm saying? And it's really concerning. And this has already been a bad look for the NFL, as we all know it. Who decided to go on and have a season without a proper protocols that can help protect players and staff and other organization members to protect themselves from COVID-19, as we all know it. And with that being said, it's already running rampant in the NFL as we know it. The National Hockey League and the NBA, who already finished their seasons, went throughout the whole time, especially playoff and seeding games. They've gone off the whole way without having a single person being tested positive for COVID-19. As we all know it. So, the NHL and the NBA has done a tremendous job of keeping their players in their respective bubbles to finish the season with champions and all that. And just basically keep their heads above water, as to say. Safe to say. And Major League Baseball has done a good job of their own, even though they started the regular season bad when both the St. Louis Cardinals and Miami Marlins went a good span of like a couple weeks without playing due to them being plagued by COVID-19. It's died down since. This happened in the summer. It's died down since, and we already have the respective bubbles in the playoffs, as we all know it, one here in California and the other in Texas. They're at least following and taking precautionary reasons to continue the season, especially in the playoffs. So, with that being said, For the NFL right now, it's really not a good look. And I believe you already have another member of the Atlanta Falcons organization that tested positive for COVID-19 just earlier today or yesterday. And that person's on the COVID-19 list. So they might go ahead and have their schedule match up with the Minnesota Vikings as planned this week as we speak. So, like I said, this whole how the NFL is handling the whole COVID-19 situation is really out of control. And it's already given the league a bad look in terms of that. So, but to me, it's just like whatever, you know. Anyways, we're gonna talk a little bit of the NBA, especially this one particular story that came up, and it was found, and I find interesting, was that some players of the Los Angeles Clippers organization had expressed their frustration about the club's star treatment of superstar small forward Kawhi Leonard. So basically, they had problems with how Kawhi Leonard was getting all sorts of special treatment, even with Paul George at some point in the season. And apparently, the players, which happens to be Patrick Beverley, Montrezl Harrell, the reigning Sixth Man of the Year, Montrezl Harrell, and Lou Williams, as we all now call him Lemon Pepper Lou, for a reason that we all remember, were reportedly irked by the fact that the Clippers were giving Kawhi Leonard all the special treatment in the world and whatnot. For example, they allowed Kawhi Leonard to live in his home in San Diego, which prompted him at times to miss team flights. And that reportedly rubbed his teammates the wrong way. So, I mean, and this is like the problem with the NBA. Like, especially during games, you basically giving your stars special treatment, like in terms of officiating calls and whatnot, it's not a good look. Especially in team and off the court issues, with how, and especially with load management too, because he hadn't played a full 82 game season, just basically had him played in limited minutes and not just going out like everybody else, you know. And that's like the biggest topic of discussion that the NBA has had to endure for the last several seasons in terms of load management and star treatment. You know what I'm saying? Even LeBron James had that same scenario at one point, you know. I mean, like before he had a groin injury last season. Don't close the door. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. That's the lawn man cutting the grass outside. But yeah, the star treatment in the NFL is basically, I mean, in the NBA rather, has been going a little bit out of hand, as we all know it. And with the fact you had that same treatment with Kawhi Leonard as we had with LeBron James when he was playing for the Cavaliers a while back, it's kind of getting a noticeable trend, and that's why people think the league is soft and is basically turning into it in a bad way. You know what I'm saying? The product is still good. Don't get me wrong. The product is still good. It's just that the way that it's been viewed as we are seeing it is basically giving it a bad look. You know what I'm saying? So, no, that's neither here nor there. Anyways, in MLB postseason action, the Houston Astros once again managed to avoid being eliminated with a 4-3 victory over the Tampa Bay Rays, with the fourth run of the inning came on a walk-off ninth-inning home run from Carlos Correa, Astros shortstop Carlos Correa, to give the Astros a 4-3 win and force a Game 6, which is scheduled for in a bit. Yeah, so that game's going to start real soon, like after this video ends. And then the Atlanta Braves, once again, got the better and proved themselves as the superior team when they thumped the Los Angeles Dodgers last night 10-2 and have now lead the series 3-1, pushing the Dodgers to the brink of elimination as we speak. Now in Game 5, a pivotal Game 5 is scheduled for tonight at 6 o'clock p.m. on Fox Sports or Fox Sports 1, whichever one. Check it out. And of course, Game 6 between Houston and Tampa Bay is tonight on TBS. Make sure to tune that out and check out the Dodger game on Fox Sports 1 as we know it, or on Fox, because they're on that same program anyway. But yeah, the Braves, their pitching staff and their hitters have gotten the best of the Dodgers. While the Dodgers pitching staff has been good, it's just that the batting lineup for the Dodgers has been really non-existent. From Mookie Betts to Cody Bellinger. I mean, Corey Seager's having a good series, but Justin Turner's really not, as we all know it. Yeah, Corey Seager is like the only guy that's having a good series for the Dodgers in terms of their batting lineup. Everybody else has been non-existent, especially Mookie Betts and Cody Bellinger, you know? And that's not a good look. And Justin Turner is basically becoming an absolute shell of himself as we speak, compared to the playoff hero as we know him to be throughout his entire tenure with us. So, and that's not a good look. And with that, the Dodgers are facing elimination as we speak. And as a Dodger fan, I don't even know if I want to listen to the game while I'm at work because I have a feeling or pretty much know how this is going to end. So, and the Braves are on their way to clinch their first pennant since 1999 when they made it to the World Series and got swept in 4 games by year by the then almighty powerhouse known as the New York Yankees. You know, when they had Derek Jeter, Jorge Posada, all those guys. You know? So, I don't know if I'm even going to watch the Dodger game because I have a feeling we all know how this is going to end. They've won 8 straight National League West Division titles and have made back-to-back World Series in 2017 and 18, but they just still haven't been able to end their long World Championship drought since 1988, and that's still going. And if they lose, it's over, and it'll extend to 32 years, as we all know it. Extend to 32 years. It's just not a good look. You know, so. And with that, I don't think I'm going to watch. I'm going to listen to the game. Let's just be real, because we all know how this is going to end. So yeah, anyways, that's all I have for today's update. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. Make sure to hit that bell button where you get my daily notification updates and my videos. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Do you think both Tampa and Atlanta can close out the respective series tonight? How do you think the NFL is handling the whole situation with COVID-19? And yeah, let me know what you guys think. With that being said, this is Nick Johnson, your favorite sports YouTube journalist, and I'm out. Peace.